Good afternoon, Suidlanders. How are you? We trust and hope that you are well. This is Suidlanders Week in Review for Friday, the 10th of February, 2023. It's been a very quiet week. I was afraid that I might have overlooked something, so I went on to three websites actually, four, to see what was it that I had overlooked, but it turns out not to be the case. It has just been a very, very quiet week, apart from 3 or 4 huge events. We begin with on last Saturday, following our last Friday week in review. On Saturday, the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, authorized the shooting down of the Chinese spy balloon. And it was shot down by an F-22 Raptor, and people made quite a lot of the fact that that is the first downing in anger, as it were, by an F-22 Raptor since they were first came into service. And then we discovered that in fact the balloon had drifted for a long way over Canada before it even entered American airspace, and apparently the Canadians had tried to shoot it down repeatedly but failed. I don't know too much about the story. I can't explain to you why, but that is one of the things that has come out. And of course people are asking the question, why did the Americans not shoot it down when it first entered the airspace of the United States of America in the far north, before drifting all the way across America to the southeast, where eventually it was shot down when it was over the sea? People have been asking the question, how much information did that spy balloon gather over Canada and the USA before somebody finally found the spine to shoot the thing out of the air? So it's a very instructive lesson on the spinelessness of the North American politicians who are in such thrall to China as they are, in spite of saying the obvious, and in spite of the fact that they are preparing for war with China. But all of these guys are beholden to China to a greater or lesser extent through the business contacts, business relationships that have been forged over the past 30 years, roughly. We heard that a large group of top academics and engineers and academics from the University of Pretoria are helping to repair or sort out or fix Eskom. I wish them much luck. It came out over the last weekend that on Thursday, Johan Rupert had conducted an interview, Thursday of last week, not yesterday, conducted an interview in which he said, mense besef nie hoe naby SA aan 'n Zimbabwe, Argentinië, Venezuela tipe situasie is nie. Hy het donderdag dit gesê dit bekommer hom, omdat mense blykbaar nie besef in watter moeilikheid ons is nie. That's also a very instructive insight into what the most powerful people in South Africa know about the severity of the Eskom crisis, of our financial affairs, of the state of the economy, and so on. We can't be sure precisely to what he was referring, but he obviously has very clear ideas that there are great threats facing South Africa. We've seen a tremendous amount of progress in the Ukraine war. When I say a tremendous amount of progress, I don't mean hundreds of thousands of square kilometers taken in a blitzkrieg by Russia, but certainly progress in key areas that the West and Ukraine swore would never fall and would be defended to the last man and so on. Bakhmut, for example, has practically been surrounded. Apparently there are numerous Ukraine troops trapped there, and Russia has placed them in a sort of a cauldron and is just bombing the daylights out of them. And there are a number of other, I watched a report this morning, a number of other strategically located villages on a certain line which appear as if they're going to fall shortly, and which are, or which locations are apparently of very great value to hold. We had K.W. Miller again. The guy has been making a hang of a lot of videos, now saying to us that Eskom is officially dead. Now, of course, that's nonsense. Eskom is most certainly not officially dead, but he seems to think that the game is over now. One worrying aspect of what K.W. Miller had to say was his reminder that it is the African National Congress's ambition to oblige by law pension funds to simply give to the government, to the state, 20% of their revenue, 20% of their takings monthly, what they make, what they generate, to be given to the state for infrastructure projects. And presumably, Eskom would be the first among equals to receive that money. And as I said to some people, just imagine if the ANC does go ahead with that ambition. In one moment, it shall have achieved the key goal in the ANC's concept of colonialism of a special type and how to destroy it, by wrecking the pension wealth of particularly, but not only, white South Africa, and transferring it to the deployed cadres of the ANC. Brilliant. Very clever indeed. You've got to hand it to them. A study reveals, let's just bring up the study here so that people don't contradict what we are saying. A National Institute of Health study is trending online, and doubtless you can find it quite easily, along with the term, so it's trending, along with the term fertility spelt PFE. In other words, a play on the name Pfizer. We don't need to go into that. People can find it for themselves. Very easy. Reported on WorldNet Daily, but that's besides the point. Who reported it is not the point. It's the National Institutes of Health study in menstrual changes experienced by women. And apparently, nearly half of women who took the COVID vaccine have experienced menstrual changes. We are told by the Gateway pundit that in the upcoming war games between China, Russia, and South Africa, the Russians will launch a Zircon missile, which is a very big thing. It's a super duper missile, extra fast, extra dangerous, extra unstoppable. And the Gateway pundit suggests that Vladimir Putin has given his official approval to it being demonstrated in these war games out at sea. It's a naval missile, so we may be among the first to see that live in action. Well, I don't know about live, but perhaps there'll be some people out there on ski boats eager eager ski boat fishermen from Richards Bay, as St. Lucia and places like that might be able to get out there and see the thing with their own eyes. US pension funds are on the brink of implosion. This is a very big story, very long story, and of course we've covered it very much over recent years, so I'm not going to go into terribly much. Let it suffice to say that it is a looming catastrophe. Eskom ran a jobs ad for their new CEO in anticipation of Andre de Ruyter's retirement at the end of March, in which they used the word, the phrase, if you like, a leader with unquestionable integrity and ethics is what they're looking for. You had one, guys. You had one, and then you poisoned him. What next on our list? Oh, Monday. On Monday, yeah, we're at Monday, aren't we? The Turkish earthquake. We all know the story. 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. A massive earthquake of 7.8 on the Richter scale. I've described this in detail in videos that I've done. Other videos on this channel. 7.8 on the Richter scale struck Turkey, southern Turkey and northern Syria. The epicenter was in Turkey itself. And by now we know that the death toll is over 21,000. Of course, that first earthquake was followed up by a second one, also very big and powerful, a few hours later. And then the following day, Tuesday, yet another one struck. Not quite so big, but big enough for you and me. I'm sure that we would be scared witless by such an earthquake, being unaccustomed to them as we are. Right. This is very important. Agri SA's Executive Director, Christo van der Rede, said that South Africans can expect food prices to rise very soon and can even expect food shortages, all due to load shedding. It is important to do a good job of preparations before the shelves begin to empty. How much can we say about this? Doesn't come as a surprise. Big event, possibly. We're about to be smacked hard by a very frightening occurrence. Let's see whether it lives up to its potential or not. On Tuesday, we heard of an incident in which 30, no less than 30, robbers hit a Mpumalanga shopping center, and we heard afterwards from various security experts and police and specialists and so on that we may expect that to now become a trend in which very large gangs that can't be beaten off by 2 or 3 security guards and some well-intentioned citizens absolutely overwhelm large installations and completely plunder them. Again, let's wait and see, but certainly that is the suggestion, the prevalent suggestion among the experts. I've just lost my place here in my long list. Right. Oh, South African insurance companies, we discovered on Wednesday, added exclusion for total Eskom grid collapse. This is becoming a very big thing, guys. A very big thing indeed. Magnus Haystack did an interview on, what is the channel? I actually know it very, very well. On a financial channel. You can find it on YouTube, easy to find. Magnus Haystack interview, in which he said that he is avoiding South African property like the plague. Now, this is something that we've been discussing for some time, so much so that some people tackled me on it in late 2019 and 2020, as good as called me a hypocrite and a liar because I bought a house a few months previously. And I had to explain, and I'm not sure that people believed me, but the motive for buying the house was not that I could not foresee the interest rate increases that were going to kick in and the devaluation of South African property. On the contrary, we'd been speaking about it. I'd been making videos about it, but my motive for buying the house was not about that. It was about a certain stability that I wanted over the forthcoming 3 or 4 years for various personal reasons that we needn't go into here. But the long and the short of it is that we have forewarned of this at length for a number of years now. The Church of England is considering gender-neutral pronouns. In other words, not to call God he or him, but they, them. I don't want to speak very much about this. I find it beyond loathsome. You can think for yourself. What are the implications of that? Of course, last Sunday we saw the very demonic Grammys. I think that we're going to give that them some attention in days to come, as soon as I can find the time to produce those videos. Absolutely evil. Evil, evil, evil. Seymour Hersh, arguably the world's greatest living, perhaps greatest ever, investigative journalist, revealed conclusively on Tuesday that it was in fact the United States of America that sabotaged the Nord Stream pipelines 1 and 2. And presumably, we can't be sure, but presumably was also responsible for the foiled sabotage of the Turk Stream pipeline, and then again was indeed, or one of its allies, perhaps, we don't know, responsible for the Siberian pipeline. Those 3 attacks or attempted attacks have occurred or did occur over the period late September to early to mid-December, so over a fairly short, concentrated span of time. We had on Tuesday again the State of the Union address by Joe Biden. If you haven't seen it and you're interested in such things, go and have a look. It has provoked quite a lot of controversy, not least because he was heckled by Republican members of the Congress, that is to say the House of Representatives, and the Senate, which is the senior house, sitting together. That's the Congress of the United States. When they sit together, or taken together, they are the Congress of the United States. When he was heckled very much by some of the Republicans, and it's quite funny if you would like to take a look at that. Otherwise, just the normal nonsense. Then, last night, Thursday night, we had our own State of the Nation address. In fact, I should correct myself if I said State of the Nation address. The American version is called the State of the Union address. And in last night's, that is to say Thursday the 9th of February, Cyril Ramaphosa waffled at great length about the Eskom crisis. He has appointed a minister of electricity, which has attracted a lot of humor. And he has declared a state of disaster in South Africa, whereby Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the head of the National Coronavirus Command Council, will now, as head of the Command Council, or as head of the governing entity of this particular, let's not say governing, the executive authority under the state of disaster, for this new declared state of disaster, she will effectively have very, very, very much say over the country, and that, I'm sure you will agree, is a terrifying prospect. And that is about it, ladies and gentlemen. Quite honestly, there were not that many not that many events, noteworthy events, over the past week, except for the 3 or 4 very big events that took place, such as the Turkish earthquake, the Chinese spy balloon. I mean, that was quite a thing. The warning about the imminent food price rises in South Africa, which is going to affect all of us quite severely. And last but not least, last night's ridiculous State of the Nation address by Cyril Ramaphosa. So that was this week. We wish you a blessed Saturday, a lovely weekend, and look forward to seeing you again on Sunday or Monday, depending upon whether I have interviews. That is largely what dictates whether I do or don't work on Sundays. I work every Sunday, practically every Sunday, but you would not see it. If I had an interview, then I wouldn't be doing local videos or posting much or being very active at all. Anyway, thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe, and support us by visiting the page Suidlanders, the website suidlanders.org, and scrolling down to the bottom of the home page and making a contribution there. We need it and we appreciate it. Thank you, and God bless all of you.